All right, just want to remind you guys that we are working on operations with rational expressions here. Our objective is to simplify our rational expressions using basic operations, and those operations are to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So I started you off with some basic simplifying. There was an easy, and then it got harder. These are not the most basic of simplifying rationals, but we've done some previous work with that. There's examples in the textbook. I posted some videos in Google Classroom. You can find the resources. I mean, this is some work that you did in ninth grade as well. So I wanted to focus more on the things that are more current to what we have been doing. So just looking at that, factoring was really a big deal. Now, as we move into our basic for real operations, I'm going to start with multiplying and dividing because we really need to know how to do those things before we get to the adding and subtracting. This is a time where the more advanced operations are going to be simpler than the more basic of those operations. So I have some examples here for us on multiplying and of course on dividing. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so again, multiplying, dividing our rational expressions, multiplying easy. Any of this that we're doing, we're going to be looking at factoring first. So I want to take a look here at our left side. On the numerator, there's 10x, that's minus 40, and easy. I can see that I could divide all of these pieces by 10, and 10 would be my GCF. Okay, so if I take a look at what that would give me here, just this top, I put that 10 on the outside, and then on the inside, well, 10 divided by 10 leaves me with just that x value, and then negative 40 divided by 10 gives me negative 4. Okay. All right, now on the bottom, we do our basic factoring a trinomial, and we know that the factors of 8 are 1, 8, 2, 4. That's really it. The ones that would give us this negative 6. Now, it's a positive 8. So remember that takes that it's either two positives or two negatives that are multiplying together. Because this is negative, it lets me know that it's two negatives. So that is going to be that it's x minus and x minus. Now, we know 1 and 8 are not going to give me that value of 6, but 2 and 4, the other set of factors for 8, will give me 6 because negative 2 plus negative 4 give me negative 6, but negative 2 times negative 4 gives me positive 8. All right, so now that we've done that part, let's take a look over here. That x plus 3, there's not anything else that we can do with it. So I'm going to just carry over my multiplication symbol. Here is x plus 3. Now, if we take a look at our denominator here, we see we've got the 5, we've got the 15, that both of those are easily divisible by 5, right? So we're going to put that 5 out in the front. It's our GCF. That leaves us with x plus 3. All right, now we're going to take a look at our factor form. All right, so we've got 10 times the x minus 4 over x minus 2 times x minus 4. Ooh, I see a little something going on right there. Then there's x plus 3 over 5 times x plus 3. I see a little something going on there. Now remember, wherever they're alike is when we get to cancel those out or cross those out. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that out and cross that out. Okay, so we'll take a look. I'm going to show you something that we could do in this step, but right now it might be a little too confusing. So let's carry over what we do have that's left, okay? So I see that I have this 10 is right here, so I'm going to rewrite it right here. That's over the x minus 2 that got left over there. All right, still times. Now, I don't have anything left in the top. And remember from the previous video that I said if you don't have anything that's left, you replace it with a 1. It doesn't just disappear. Okay? So let's take a look at what we've got going on here. All right. So 10 times 1 is just 10 because that's our rule of multiplying. And then we have this 5 times this x minus 2. So I just rewrote it in a little bit shorter hand method. I'm looking at this 10 and this 5. I know those are going to reduce because 5 can go into the 10 2 times and the 5 goes into itself 1 time. All right, so if we take a look, what we actually have left, 2, and then 1 times x minus 2 is just x minus 2. Okay, now I know you're thinking, what does she mean? This is easy. This is the easy stuff because you know how to factor to UGCF. You know how to factor your perfect, your perfect trinomials. Okay, and nothing else to take out of it. It is simplified as far as it will go with our multiplying operation. All right, we're going to move into the one that's a little bit harder. It just means that it's got some of that weird factoring going on. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this. All right, so we've got this x squared minus 16 divided by x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, and that is multiplying by x minus 2 over or divided by x squared plus 6x plus 8. Now, we have to remember our rule of perfect squares because it only has 2 terms. It's the difference. So this is the difference of perfect squares. And remember that those factor out. All right, so there's x, minus 16 is the perfect square number of 4. It's going to minus and it will add. Okay, difference of perfect squares right there for you guys. Now I'm going to take a look at the denominator. Oh, wait, before I get there, just remember it is multiplying, so there's going to be more stuff over here, okay? All right, in my denominator, I have x squared minus 4x plus 4. Factors of 4. 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Now this is positive 4, so that means it's either 2 positives or 2 negatives. And this little symbol right here lets me know it's 2 negatives. So will -1, -4 give me -4? No. Will -2 and -2 give me -4? Yes. So we're going to write those factors here. That's going to be x minus 2 and x minus 2. Okay? All right, now let's take a look. I'm just going to draw this across because it's multiplying, so they're really just connected anyway. X minus 2 really doesn't have any other factors, so I'm just going to write that in, x minus 2. But take a look at the bottom. It looks a lot like our first one up here, but it was subtracting, adding. This is adding, adding. So what we've got, factors of 8, that would add together to give me 6. That's still 4 and 2. They're just both now positive instead of negative as they were earlier. So let's write this in. That's x plus 2, x plus 4. All right. So now we're going to take a look. What can we get rid of? What matches? It's almost like a go fish kind of thing. What matches between the top and the bottom so that we can cancel it out? So I take a look. First thing I've got here is x minus 4. I'm going to look across the bottom and see, do I have any x minus 4? No. So I got to keep that. X plus 4. I did see I've got one right there, so I can cancel that out with, ooh, excuse me, guys. Got to keep my paper from sliding. All right, so there we go. All right. And then x minus 2, and we've got a couple of those right here. Now, there are 2 of them here. There's only 1 here. It has to be that it's a perfect match up. If you don't have enough to cancel out everything, you have to leave that behind. You can't just get rid of it. So we're going to get rid of this x minus 2 and then this x minus 2. That doesn't really matter which one you take out. You just got to take one of them. All right, so what do we have left? So taking a look here, in the numerator, I have that x minus 4. All right, and it's over a couple of things. I see x minus 2 and x plus 2. All right, so I look at this. I really want this -2 and this +2 because if I multiplied them together, they would give me -4. But unfortunately, you've got that it really doesn't work. I can't factor this anymore. That is as simplified as it will go. Okay, so that one's a little bit harder just because we see it looks like there's something else we could do, right? All right, so I'm going to pause that right there and we will work on dividing in our next video.